So now the enemy can pursue us. Now let's do the second state, which is the shooting state. For that, right here at the top, let's create a public float by the name of give damage, and our enemy will give damage of 5f. Okay, and after this, in here let's create a public transform. Let's name this as look point. After this, let's create a public game object, and basically this will be a reference to our shooting raycast area. Okay, after this, right here let's add a header, and inside this header we will create a public float by the name of time between shoot, and then after this we will create a bool which will be previously shoot. And now right here we will say that if the player is in the vision radius and also the player is in the shooting radius, then we want to call a function which will be by the name of player shoot. And now let's create our player shoot function. So after this pursue player, let's create a private void by the name of shoot player, and in here we want the enemy agent dot set destination. We actually want to stop the player at his position, okay, because when he is shooting he will just stop there and start shooting. Okay, so we will stop the player using this, and then what we will do is we will say transform dot look at, and we want to look at the look point. Okay, after this we will say that if we previously didn't shoot, okay, then we want to shoot the player. Okay, so for that right here we will say that if we previously didn't shoot a bullet, okay, the enemy didn't shoot, then we want to shoot. And as you know, we will shoot using raycast, and I told you how raycast works in the previous videos when we were adding shooting ability to our player. So raycast actually make an invisible ray, and then if that ray hits whatever is in the environment, then we store information about that object inside this, and then using this raycast hit we can do different things to that game object. For example, we want to give damage to that game object, and etc etc. So now right here in the if condition we will say physics dot raycast, and we want to cast array from the shooting raycast area. We will create the shooting raycast area, don't worry, and then transform dot position, and in which direction we want to raycast an invisible ray. It will be in the forward direction, so transform dot forward. And after this we will say out hit. Okay, we will store the information in the hit raycast hit, and then right here we want to limit the raycast radius, so we will limit that by the shooting radius, which is basically right here, and we will assign a value to this shooting radius, don't worry. Now after this we want to say that if we hit something, then we want to show its name in the console. So with that we will first of all show shooting, and then we will say show the transform name. Okay, so we'll say hit dot transform dot name, so it will show us the name of whatever we are shooting. Okay, so now the enemy shot one time. Okay, now after this the previously shot will be equals to true, and then the enemy will not be able to shoot again. So we need a way to make this previously shot false whenever we shoot a bullet. So for that what we will do, after this shoot player We will create a private void, okay, and let's name this as active shooting. Okay, and in this active shooting we will just simply set the previously shot to false. Okay, and then whenever we shoot, what we will do then, we will simply set the previously shot to true, because yes, we fire a bullet, and after that we will say invoke name of, we want to invoke the shooting active shooting function. Okay, and after that we want to wait for the time between shoot, which is basically this time between shoot. We will give it a value, don't worry about that. For now let's just save this, then click on the enemy in the inspector. Let's set the time between shoot to 1. Shooting radius will be 18. Now we need the look point and the shooting raycast area. For that, if we focus up on our layer, okay, right here, let's create a empty game object by the name of look point, and this will be right there in the player first. Okay, and then let's attach the look point right there. Now we need the shooting raycast area from where the enemy will shoot. So let's create an empty game object inside enemy. Okay, there it is. So the enemy rifle will be right here, so we will basically move this object right there, and then this will be the shooting area raycast. Click on enemy, let's attach this right there, and that is it. Now if we play the game and actually click on console, now you will notice that whenever the enemy try to kill us, it will show that shooting. As you can see, it shows shooting player, as you can see right here. Okay, after every 1 second the enemy shoots. Okay, now if we come right there, okay, the enemy will now come in our position. Where is the enemy? I think due to the baking, okay, the inappropriate baking, our enemy cannot reach us accurately. But as you can see, it is now shooting this thing, and now if you come in front of it, as you can see, the shooting player is now increasing. So it means that now our enemy can shoot the player. Okay, now in the next video what we will do, we will give damage to our player. Okay, so whenever the enemy hits the player, we will decrease the player health, and then when the player health becomes 0, the enemy will win and our player will just simply die. So for that, catch you guys in the next one.